This is my current LEGO Lord of the Rings collection, and this is the collection after today's insane haul. We're collecting every LEGO Lord of the Rings and Hobbit minifigure, so there are a ton of rare and expensive minifigures that we're buying, and of course some awesome armies that we're building. First things first, we need to remove our figures from the LEGO Rivendell set, as well as the ones from the new Barad-dûr, and add these into the back of the collection on this plate. This plate is basically every single minifigure in order of their bricklink number, and then over here on this plate, we're building all of our other armies, starting with our Uruk-hai, putting them all together, and then next to them we have our small factions and other orcs, etc. And that brings our LEGO Lord of the Rings minifigure total to 125 minifigures before we get into the new packages. We have 74 out of 140 of the individual minifigures, and then about 50 of the duplicates slash armies slash custom figs slash slightly incomplete figs. But both of those numbers are going to explode with these packages, so with that being said, let's open some packages. We have so many LEGO Lord of the Rings minifigures in these packages, and then we also have this one with about 35 different minifigures that I won on a lot on eBay, so we'll get to that one last. First of all, we have these Uruk-hai and a Warg. I basically got these for maybe £40, and one of them is the White Hand of Saruman right there, so this was a crazy so it might have been 50. We already do have this brown Warg, which is a shame, but again, it's good to get multiples of these. I do need to get the white and the grey though. And then as you can see, we've got 4 Uruk-hai, including, the White Hand of Saruman, which is a £20 fig on its own right there. A bunch of weapons there, and then this Hunter Orc here without his hair, which is great for the Orc army. So none of these were actually new minifigures, these were just duplicates for the armies, but these two are definitely new. We have the Lake Town Guard here inside of this one. I'm absolutely in love with these figs. I've always loved the colour purple, and I think this guy just looks amazing. But not only do we have him, we also have one of these Soldiers of the Dead. We do have the King of the Dead already. These might just be some of my favourite LEGO Lord of the Rings minifigures. I love the glow in the dark and the different colours, and they're just so unique. On to the next package here, and we're going to dump out everything inside of here. Okay, so starting off, we have a Rohirrim soldier. It was in a battle pack basically, and now it's basically £20 on its own. But yeah, beautiful fig and a lovely addition to the army. Next up, we have Samwise Gamgee. Now, I may have accidentally bought a couple of these, so there might be another one you see later on in the video, but I still got a great deal, so it was definitely worth it. But this is Sam, the original version of Sam. I love this. Only ever came in the Shelops Attack set, and I have such a nostalgia for this minifigure. I think it's a really nice torso for medieval stuff in general. Next up, we have Arwen Evenstar. This time she is in her blue robes as opposed to the newer version in the white robes, or white dress I should say. I'm not too fond of the face print on her. I always thought it was a bit weird. I'm actually rebuying most of these figures. I actually did have quite a decent Lord of the Rings collection back in the day, so this is going to be slightly more expensive than I sold them for, but either way, it's great to get these minifigures back. And next up, speaking of getting them back, this is the only Helm's Deep minifigure I haven't bought back yet, and now I do have him. This is Haldir, so we have basically the entire lineup from Helm's Deep. I think it's a really unique elf. Now, inside of these, we have, first of all, another one of the Ringwraith horses, so obviously another one I've already got, but it's good to get some more of these because I just love them, and they are so expensive now, so this is just great to have for my Nazgul army. Now, I can't actually see what's inside of these ones, and I've done so many orders, I've forgotten what is in each one, so let's try and get this open. Oh, it's the Mouth of Sauron. So I actually recently had this minifig, but I sold it because obviously the one was coming in the new Barad-dûr set. However, when I decided to collect every single Lord of the Rings minifigure, buying him back was a must. And in here, I'm gonna guess it's the Elrond in red, the original version. Yes, it is. Okay, awesome. I thought I saw a little sneak peek of red in there. Lovely cape on him, and just another one that we've seen remade again in the Rivendell this time. I think his hairpiece is a standout and definitely an improvement on the newer version. So far, most of these have been pretty expensive minifigs. We're probably talking like 30 for this guy, about 20 for this guy, 20, 40, 17 or so I think I got for her, maybe 18 for him, and maybe about a similar price for Elrond. So we've already spent a ton of money, but we've got loads more to unbox. This one has probably over £300 worth of figures in here. We firstly have Gandalf the White. Now, I did notice that it is slightly yellowed, which is a massive shame. You can see, especially when you take the beard off, but still great to have this minifigure. I might one day end up buying a better version. Next, we have Bjorn, and he is still sealed in the packet that he came from the LEGO store, so this is really cool. And he's a super unique minifig. I love this sort of head-hair combo, and a really cool character from The Hobbit is turned into a pretty decent minifig. Next up, we have all 3 minifigures in this one here. I don't think I ordered these together because I think I got this guy separately, which is the Good Morning Bilbo. This was an exclusive Bilbo. Don't ask me which exclusive one it was from. There was also the Blue Coat Bilbo, which was exclusive to another one, and that one's going to be one that I probably will never get, and if I do, I'll end up paying hundreds of pounds. But this guy was less expensive. I love the robes, and it probably looks better than the Blue Coat Bilbo in my opinion. And yeah, I paid about £15 16 to 17 for him. Next we have Bard as well as his son Bane. These guys are both the sort of dirty battle damaged versions. This is really cool, but there's two other versions of Bard we've got to get. I think I might even be getting them both in this haul today, so we'll have to see how we get on. And there's one other version of Bane as well. Next we have another Lake Town Guard. So I just love these minifigures so much, and I'm actually going to be making a kind of custom purple medieval kind of army with the new torsos that came in the medieval village set. I recently got about 10 of these off Pick-a-Brick, and I think they would work really nicely for a sort of fantasy faction. Not only that, but the Lake Town Guards just look amazing on their own, so yeah, definitely a good purchase here. Next we have our first version of Azog here. This is the open mouth version. Now I've never seen this mace thing he's got here before. I've not really paid attention too much to these sets, but this is so cool. I don't know if that's official Lego. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, but either way, a really cool minifigure here with the sort of mouth being open on this one. There is a mouth closed version, which we hopefully will get later on in this haul. Next up, one of the most expensive minifigures I've ever purchased, if not the most expensive I've ever purchased, is Radagast the Brown. Now, fun fact, that little feather there is worth about $50, which is just ludicrous. I found that out when I went to Brickworld Chicago. They were selling this guy for about $50 without and then $100 with. And then I paid about £75 for this guy here, so pretty decent one to add to the collection, and it was necessary if I need to buy all of them. If we end up completing the collection, he definitely won't be the most expensive minifig, because there are a few more that I've got to get that are 100 plus the Dragon Smaug, who's going to be, I don't even know, maybe 300 or 400. So yeah, this guy will look cheap in the future, but right now he's probably the most expensive minifig I've ever bought. This next figure is actually pretty expensive as well, and this is the Master of Lake Town. I hate his character in the movies, as well as the guy who is his sidekick. I forget what he's called now. I found them probably the worst part of the Hobbit movies, and that's saying something. For about 30, I also got the Goblin King. Actually, he might have been a bit less than that, but this is another big fig. There's only two big figs that you need for the Lego Lord of the Rings and Hobbit collection. This guy and, of course, the Cave Troll. And again, I was not a fan of this part of the Hobbit either. So, yeah, when he starts singing that awful song about down, down, down in Goblin Town, I almost switched off. But yeah, still a big fig we had to buy for the collection. Next up, we don't have a minifigure, but we have Gwahir the Eagle. I believe this is Gwahir anyway. This is one of two versions. You can see this guy has a bit of printing here. That means he is from the Hobbit. And I have actually purchased the other one, but I don't think he'll be in this haul. I've got a few more packages that will be arriving after this, so stay tuned to the channel if you want to see those. So I did get another version of Sam. This wasn't even in the giant haul that I ended up getting. I actually just bought him twice because I'm an idiot. But yeah, this is the other version of Sam, and I will be selling him as well as any other duplicates I have from this video. Next up is a pretty standard minifigure, and this is another version of Bilbo. Just another one checked off the list, but I think this guy was again about 10 to 15 pounds. So yeah, not the most ideal thing in the world to have to spend that much money on just simple minifigs like this, but still it was a necessity and it's done now. Nope, this is not another Elrond. This is one of the barrel guards from the Barrel Escape set. This guy's in this awesome red costume. I love the way this looks. I think this might be one of my favorite elves actually, but for some reason this guy and the light green version are both relatively expensive, coming in about $20. But once again, like I've said a million times, I have to just do it if I want to complete the collection. Next up is Merry, another member of the Fellowship. This is the original version. I believe it came on the Attack on Weathertop set. I've ordered the Pippin as well as a Boromir and stuff. I don't think they'll be arriving in this video, but stay tuned for those. And the final minifigure from that haul is another version of Bard in his blue outfit this time, and I think he looks really, really good with the chainmail underneath his sort of blue robes, and that's another Bard ticked off the list. And now we head into the big boy right here. This is about 30 to 35 minifigures from Lord of the Rings. I basically won a bidding war. I lost a few before, and I was really gutted I missed out on those ones, but this one's crazy, and it's going to take me ages to unbox all of these because he's wrapped them really, really well, which is great, but it's also a shame. And it looks like I'm importing something slightly suspicious with all of these, but let's quickly get them unwrapped. So firstly, I messed up pretty bad. As you can see, I accidentally cut this guy's cape completely open. That is gutting. I was just opening the packages, I was using the scissors, and suddenly, yeah, I just sliced through that. So either I'll have to buy a new cape for this guy or sell him without a cape. But luckily, I've already got one version for myself. And speaking of Lake Town, we have another Lake Town guard here. This is number 2. Yazneg is up next. He's a weird orc we don't really see in the movies, and yeah, he's one of the cheaper minifigs, and he's still pretty cool. Next up, we have a bunch of Gundabad orcs here. You can see we have 2 here without any hair or anything, another 2 with the shoulder pieces and no hair, then another one with no hair or no shoulder piece, and then another one with the hair and the shoulder piece. So this is pretty cool. Then we have 3 different Mordor orcs. 2 of them have the leg printing and the hair, and one of them doesn't have either, so that'll be good. I think think I might have to do one more variant of those, sort of mismatch them to get one more variant that will go into my individual collection. Next we have 3 different Bilbos. 2 of them are the exact same over here with the red coat, and then 2 of these guys are also ones I've already gotten. So again, these guys will all be for sale. Speaking of duplicates, we got 2 Gandalfs here. Now again, there are 2 different versions, or 3 different versions potentially, of Gandalf, just with different combinations of hairs and capes and stuff. So yeah, these will be just mismatched to create those. We have a few different Mirkwood elves here. We have one that only really is important, and that is Thranduil here. She's the only one I don't have already. I believe I've already got these guys. So these guys will just go into the elf army. And speaking of elves, I didn't need to buy the red one because we already have him here as well. So that was kind of a waste. I'll be selling him potentially, or maybe just keeping him as another elf. And then we have this green version as well. Again, like I said, these are quite expensive. I did end up paying at £220, so about $250 for all of these figs here that you're seeing. So yeah, let me know whether you think I got a good deal. Then we have all 3 different versions of the goblins here. I already have the short one, the Goblin Scribe. We have this one which has the sort of carroty thing hanging from his neck, and then this one with the chains. Then we have the Necromancer of Dol Guldur, as well as this statue of Dol Guldur. These are both really cheap, but still good to add to the collection. This is the last version of Bard here, so he's ticked off the list. Thorin's up next, and I believe I have this version of Thorin already. Potentially I don't, I'm not entirely sure, so I'll have to go double check in a minute. And speaking of different versions, this is the other version of Azog here, and you can see he just has the closed mouth rather than the screaming open mouth. You know what, I actually kind of prefer the closed mouth. I don't know, let me know what you prefer in the comments. Another elf here is this Legolas. I actually bought loads of these to make a load of different elves for my Helm's Deep mock recently, so I already have this guy about 4 times or 5 times over. Oh, I didn't mention this other Mordor orc here has a helmet. Then we have the 3rd version of Gollum here. This is the version with the closed, more pointy eyes. And finally we have another version of Beorn here. It's a shame they didn't make him in his bear form as well. That would have been really sick. So there is all of the minifigures we're adding to the collection slash the armies slash the duplicates that we are going to be selling slash keeping. This is a pretty crazy haul right here. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds spent on Lego Lord of the Rings minifigs. But let's go add these to our collection, see how many individual minifigures we can tick off from our list, and then add the rest of the armies as well. Oh, and I also went to Firestar Toys and got these beautiful custom printed torsos, which are basically replacements for the ones that come in Barad-dûr, and they look like the sort of orc armor that we see Sam and Frodo disguised in when they use those special helmets. So I can't wait to make those. So I added back all the minifigures into their places, going through the Bricklink list, filling in loads of gaps and moving everything around. I then added the other Uruk-hai that I bought, as well as the other minifigures, including some other orcs. Now here you can see the extent of our giant collection so far. So on this plate previously we had 74 out of 140 individual minifigures, and now we are up to 117, moving closer and closer to finally completing our collection. You can also see a few white plates in here, which are basically placeholders to signify which minifigures I've already purchased, so I can keep a better track. And you'll see these arriving in an upcoming video in the next couple of weeks, where I'll also be putting together all of our armies into one big section, including building my massive custom Rohirrim, and I'll show you a few more details in that video as well. So subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. But over here we can see my giant Uruk-hai collection. Obviously there are a few more of these sprinkled into the 140 minifigures over on the left. So with that next video I'll be compiling all of them into one giant army, so you can get a full extensive look, but here we have just a few of them, as well as my armies of orcs next to them with the different varieties. Again, soon I'm going to be compiling these with a load of other orc minifigures that I have in my collection, and mixing them all together to look awesome. Next we have my duplicates here, my Haradrim soldiers, my elven army, and my ring wraiths with the Witch King on top of his Nazgul. I have actually bought the official original version of the ring wraith from Weathertop, and of course I have the new one for the gift with purchase. But for the other minifigures I'm using black robes, cloths and capes from minifigures like Luke Skywalker, Palpatine and other Sith Lords, and this is going to be a much more cost effective way of building the 9 Fallen Kings. There's also one of my customs here, which is the minifig for Arwen with a cool banner from Helm's Deep. So let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on those next few videos, which are going to be even more epic, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye.